Good evening, everyone. I've often been asked, what does success mean to you? And I'll be honest, there was a time when I thought it meant the applause, the awards, the headlines, the validation. And don't get me wrong, I'm grateful for every bit of it, but then I met her. She wasn't on a magazine cover, she wasn't trending, she wasn't trying to be anybody's idea of perfection, but she said something to me, just one sentence, and it changed everything. She said, "Success is being able to live your truth out loud." That's it, one sentence, no filter, no fluff, and in that moment she redefined success not just for herself, but for me, and I believe for anyone willing to really hear it. You see, we live in a world that loves to box us in. It tells women how we should look, speak, sit, think, even dream, and if you don't fit in the mold, well, you must be doing something wrong. But what if success wasn't about fitting in? What if it was about breaking out of boxes, of labels, of limits? She showed me that success is not measured in trophies or titles. It's measured in freedom, the freedom to choose your path, to walk into a room and not shrink. To say what you mean and mean what you say, to build a life that doesn't require permission. I've walked red carpets across the world. I've stood in boardrooms and film sets where I was the only woman, the only brown girl, the only outsider. And let me tell you, power is not in the spotlight. Power is in knowing who you are when no one is watching. So to every girl listening tonight, you don't need to shout to be heard. You don't need to be famous to be worthy. You just need to live your truth out loud every single day. That's what she did, and that's how she redefined success in one sentence. True success is not measured by the applause you receive, the number of accolades you collect, or the societal status you achieve. It's not about fitting into someone else's definition of who you should be or chasing a picture, perfect version of success crafted by the world around you. At its core, real success is about living your truth, boldly, openly, and without apology. It's about standing in your authenticity, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's inconvenient, and even when it defies expectations. When she said, "Success is being able to live your truth out loud," it wasn't just a poetic phrase, it was a powerful declaration. Living your truth means being in full alignment with who you are, not who the world wants you to be. It's about knowing your values, honoring your voice, and making choices that reflect your deepest self, not your fears or your need for approval. In a world where we are constantly told to edit ourselves, to shrink our voices, to blend in, it takes courage to be authentic. We are surrounded by filtered images, curated lives, and highlight reels. But the people who redefine success are the ones who choose vulnerability over perfection, self-respect over popularity, and integrity over image. Living your truth also means embracing your flaws and imperfections. It means owning your past, your scars, your failures, because they are all part of the story that shaped you. It's understanding that you don't have to pretend to have it all together to be worthy. You just have to be real. There's an undeniable sense of freedom that comes from no longer needing to perform for acceptance. When you start living your truth, you begin to attract the right people, the right opportunities, and most importantly, the right kind of peace. You stop chasing and you start choosing. You stop comparing and you start creating. This version of success is deeply personal. It's different for every woman. For some, it might mean raising a strong family. For others, it might mean starting a business, standing on a global stage, or healing from trauma. Whatever your truth looks like, living it boldly is the greatest success of all, because in the end, success that costs you your truth isn't success at all. But success that is born from your truth, that's power, that's freedom, and that's the kind of success worth striving for. From the time we are young, we are taught, subtly and directly, what is acceptable, what dreams are too big, what behavior is ladylike, what roles we should play. Especially for women, society builds invisible boxes and labels them with rules. Be quiet, be pleasing, don't stand out too much, don't speak too loudly. Don't take up too much space, and when you try to stretch beyond those limits, you're often met with resistance, judgment, doubt, and sometimes even shame. But true success begins when you stop trying to shrink yourself to fit into those boxes and start asking why they even exist in the first place. The moment you begin to challenge the expectations placed on you, you start reclaiming your voice. You begin to realize that the mold you were told to fit into was never designed to hold the fullness of your potential, your spirit, or your ambition. The world has long defined success in narrow, rigid terms: status, money, appearance, job titles. But these definitions often exclude individuality, creativity, and self-expression. They leave no space for diversity in thought, in culture, in purpose. And so, many powerful women end up spending years trying to achieve a version of success that was never meant for them, only to feel unfulfilled when they finally get there. Breaking the box means rewriting the narrative. It means choosing not to apologize for being too bold, too driven, too emotional, too anything. It's giving yourself permission to be complex, to evolve, to want more. It's refusing to shrink so others can feel comfortable. Because your voice, your story, and your perspective matter, and when you stop conforming and start creating, that's when you truly start to lead. It's not always easy. People might not understand you at first. Some might walk away, but those who stay, the ones who see your strength, your uniqueness, they are the ones who belong in your story. And more importantly, you'll find yourself surrounded by authenticity, not approval. Breaking out of society's boxes is not rebellion, it's liberation. It's choosing purpose over pressure, and it's a declaration that success doesn't have to look one way to be real. When you define success on your own terms, you become unstoppable, not because you have all the answers, but because you finally have the freedom to ask your own questions. You were never meant to fit in. You were meant to stand out, and that in itself is success. It's easy to believe that success is measured by the noise around you, the applause, the trophies, the glowing praise of people who barely know your name. The world teaches us to chase recognition, to count likes, followers, awards, and titles as proof that we've made it. But here's the truth most people won't say out loud: applause fades, headlines disappear. Awards collect dust, and if your worth is tied to those fleeting moments, you'll always feel like you're chasing something just out of reach. Real success doesn't live in the spotlight. It lives in the quiet. It's in those early mornings when no one is watching, and you still choose to show up for your dreams. It's in the decision to do what's right, not what's popular. It's in the choices you make when there is no audience to impress and no one clapping for you. Because that's when your character speaks loudest, when your values guide you, not your ego. Success built on applause is fragile. It bends with public opinion. One moment you're celebrated, the next you're questioned. And if you're constantly trying to please others, you risk losing the most important voice in your life, your own. But when you build success from the inside out, rooted in purpose and personal truth, nothing and no one can take that away from you. There's something powerful about knowing who you are when the cameras are off. It's that quiet confidence that doesn't need validation to feel valuable. It's the satisfaction of knowing you stayed true to yourself, even when it would have been easier to perform or pretend. That kind of success, measured in self-respect, inner peace, and resilience, isn't glamorous, but it's unshakable. Some of the most remarkable people in the world are not the loudest or the most visible. They are the ones who are quietly changing lives, pursuing their purpose, and living with integrity. Even if the world never gives them a standing ovation, that's real success. Not in what people see, but in what you know deep down about yourself. So yes, let the applause come, celebrate the milestones, be proud of every achievement, but never confuse applause with purpose, and never let your value be determined by the volume of the crowd, because who you are in the silence matters more than who you are in the spotlight. That's the kind of success that lasts. That's the kind of success that can't be taken from you. Power doesn't always come from position, wealth, or fame. True power begins the moment you believe in yourself, when you stop waiting for someone else to choose you, and instead, you choose yourself. The world often tries to convince us that power belongs to those who are loudest, most visible, or most celebrated. But the truth is, power is much quieter and much deeper. It comes from knowing who you are, what you stand for, and being unafraid to live by that, even when it's hard. Self-belief is not arrogance. It's not about thinking you're better than others. It's about knowing you're enough. It's that inner voice that tells you, even in the face of failure, judgment, or rejection, that you are still worthy. And that voice doesn't get louder from external praise, it gets stronger. each time you make a choice that honors your truth. Every time you speak up when it would be easier to stay silent, every time you take a step forward when fear tries to hold you back, you are building that unshakable foundation of self-belief. The world won't always reflect your confidence back to you. In fact, there will be times it challenges you, doubts you, underestimates you. But your power isn't in how the world sees you. It's in how you see yourself. That's why the most powerful people are not always those in the spotlight. They are often the ones who have walked through storms alone, who have risen again and again with nothing but faith in their heart and fire in their eyes. When you believe in yourself, you stop seeking permission. You stop waiting to be chosen, noticed, or approved of. You realize that your dreams, your goals, and your voice are valid, even if no one else understands them yet. That kind of confidence is magnetic. It creates space for others to step into their own power. Because when one woman owns her worth, she unconsciously gives permission for others to do the same. Power through self-belief is also what keeps you grounded. It reminds you of your values when the noise gets loud. It protects your peace in rooms where you might feel like an outsider, and it helps you walk away from anything that asks you to be less than you are. In the end, real power is not something someone hands to you. It's something you build within, and once you have it, no one can take it away. Power doesn't always come from position, wealth, or fame. True power begins the moment you believe in yourself, when you stop waiting for someone else to choose you, and instead you choose yourself. The world often tries to convince us that power belongs to those who are loudest, most visible, or most celebrated. But the truth is, power is much quieter and much deeper. It comes from knowing who you are, what you stand for, and being unafraid to live by that even when it's hard. Self-belief is not arrogance. It's not about thinking you're better than others. It's about knowing you're enough. It's that inner voice that tells you, even in the face of failure, judgment, or rejection, that you are still worthy. And that voice doesn't get louder from external praise, it gets stronger each time you make a choice that honors your truth. Every time you speak up when it would be easier to stay silent, every time you take a step forward when fear tries to hold you back, you are building that unshakable foundation of self-belief. The world won't always reflect your confidence back to you. In fact, there will be times it challenges you, doubts you, underestimates you. But your power isn't in how the world sees you. It's in how you see yourself. That's why the most powerful people are not always those in the spotlight. They are often the ones who have walked through storms alone, who have risen again and again with nothing but faith in their heart and fire in their eyes. When you believe in yourself, you stop seeking permission. You stop waiting to be chosen, noticed, or approved of. You realize that your dreams, your goals, and your voice are valid, even if no one else understands them yet. That kind of confidence is magnetic. It creates space for others to step into their own power. Because when one woman owns her worth, she unconsciously gives permission for others to do the same. Power through self-belief is also what keeps you grounded. It reminds you of your values when the noise gets loud. It protects your peace in rooms where you might feel like an outsider. And it helps you walk away from anything that asks you to be less than you are. In the end, real power is not something someone hands to you. It's something you build within, and once you have it, no one can take it away. There is something profoundly powerful about being the only one in the room. The only woman, the only person of color, the only voice that sounds different, thinks differently, or dares to speak up when others stay silent. It can be isolating, yes, it can be intimidating, but it can also be transformative. Because when you show up as your full self in spaces where people like you have rarely been seen, you are doing more than just representing yourself. You are opening the door for others who are still waiting for permission to walk in. Representation is not just a word we throw around, it's a lifeline. When a young girl sees someone who looks like her standing tall, speaking boldly, or leading unapologetically, something shifts in her. She begins to believe that maybe she can do it too. Maybe the world isn't just for other people. Maybe her voice, her skin, her background, her story, it all belongs, and that kind of belief changes everything. But being that only one isn't always easy. It often comes with pressure. You feel like you have to prove yourself, to carry the weight of every person who has ever been overlooked. Sometimes you're met with resistance, stereotypes, or the burden of being misunderstood. And yet, when you continue to show up, to speak with conviction, and to take your space without apology, you are redefining what's possible. You are making it clear that leadership, brilliance, and strength come in many forms, and that success does not belong to a single narrative. Your voice matters, not just when it echoes what people want to hear, but especially when it challenges, uplifts, or disrupts the norm. Your story matters, even if it hasn't been told before. And your presence is a statement in itself, a declaration that you are not just participating in the world, you are shaping it. By refusing to blend in, you become a mirror for others to see themselves. You break the illusion that there's only one way to lead, to succeed, to belong. And in doing so, you light a path for those who are still searching for their place. So don't ever diminish your uniqueness to make others comfortable. You are not meant to fit in. You were meant to be seen, to be heard, and to represent everything that still needs a voice. Because when you do, you're not just rising, you're lifting others with you. For so long, many of us have been taught to wait. To wait for the right time, the right approval, the right invitation. To wait for someone to tell us it's okay to dream bigger, speak louder, or take the lead. But the truth is, the moment you stop waiting and start living on your own terms is the moment you take back your power. Success is not about asking for permission. It's about showing up fully, boldly, and without apology. It's about deciding that you are enough, just as you are, and that you have every right to take up space in this world. Living boldly doesn't mean being fearless. It means choosing courage over comfort. It means knowing the risks, feeling the fear, and doing it anyway because your voice, your purpose, and your presence matter. It means refusing to dim your light just because someone else might find it too bright. The world doesn't need more silence. It needs your truth, raw, real, and radiant. When you live without asking for permission, you give yourself the freedom to define success in a way that honors your spirit. It might mean launching that idea no one else believes in. It might mean walking away from a job, a relationship, or a life that doesn't reflect who you really are. It might mean choosing joy, peace, and purpose over expectations, titles, or traditions. Whatever it looks like for you, living boldly is about choosing authenticity every single day. Even when it's not easy, there will always be people who don't understand your choices, who question your path, who expect you to play small. Let them. You don't need to shrink yourself to make others feel comfortable. Your dreams are valid even if no one claps. Your truth matters even if it makes people uncomfortable. You are not here to meet someone else's definition of enough. You are here to live your truth out loud. And the beautiful thing is, when you start living boldly, you inspire others to do the same. You become a reminder that it's okay to be different, to take risks, to want more. You lead by example, not because you have everything figured out, but because you're brave enough to be real. So stop waiting, stop asking, start living. The life you want won't come from someone handing it to you. It will come when you decide to claim it for yourself. That is the kind of success that can't be bought, borrowed, or faked. That is success on your terms. Thank you.